Leadership amid crisis. Helping Ukraine win the war.
Hey, it's Nicholas Hill. Good to have you with me here today. Guys, if you don't know why I am running these webinars for you in Ukraine, please check out the introduction that I recorded earlier. That will give you a good enough summary as to what is to come, not only in this chapter, but also in chapters to come. Like I said in the introduction, there is no script. It's just you and I having this conversation, nothing more. And I want to make it a dialogue, even though it's not going to be in real time. These webinars, of course, are not live, but I do want to hear your comments. Please send me any feedback, constructive, please, in the comments below. And I'm going to do my best to reply and respond to you. So chapter number 1. Let's start with goal setting. Now, why start with goal setting, for goodness sake? Because you guys are going to need surely survival techniques. Yeah, you are. And if we only think about surviving right now, that's all our objective is going to be. Now, for those who recognize that successful organizations come about through having a compelling vision, first of all, we have to think like those visionaries. If we are only in survival mode during this war, guess who wins? Putin. He's advancing, we're retreating. Now, I'm including me in this equation because I'm on your side. The UK is on your side right now. We want to work with you. We want to help you win this war, not just survive it. If you think about Putin's strategy, or at least what we know so far, this is a war that he's been planning for years. This is not something that he's now doing in response to a bad dream, or as far as his thinking is concerned, a good dream. No, this is premeditated warfare. This is something that he has planned for years, if not decades, since the end of the Cold War. Do you think he's going away? No, he ain't going away, guys. All right. So if your only response is survival, Putin is thinking, gotcha. Because what are you going to do when you're in survival mode? You're going to retreat from the enemy, because if you don't retreat, you are going to die. You are not going to survive. Now, you guys that are on the front line right now, you men anyway that are given arms, when previously you were just using one of these, like me, a mouse, or maybe you were on the street working in the construction industry. Maybe you were a teacher. Maybe your tools and the materials and the equipment, the software and the hardware that you were using were not weapons. They were not AK-47s. They were not tanks. They were not missiles. They were not some other form of weaponry. Now you're thrust into the midst of it, where you have to suddenly think like a soldier. What you do not want to do is to only think survive, to only think, how can I save myself right now? You don't want to just think, how can I get through this? Because again, that is exactly how Putin wants you to think, to get into survival mode, to get into retreat mode, to think as the victim thinks. You have to think like the victor. Who is the victor? The one that wins this war. Now, you've got a great leader right now in Zelensky. Listen to him. We in the UK have had the whole of the House of Commons giving him a standing ovation. I think that was a couple of weeks ago now, where he addressed the House of Commons, which includes our Prime Minister Boris Johnson, and everyone gave him a standing ovation. Now, frankly, I think that's the first time our House of Commons have ever given anyone a standing ovation who is on a video conference call just wearing a t-shirt. Good on you, Zelensky. Okay, but this is a man that is not wavering. This is a man that said, I do not want to ride, I want support. I want artillery. I want weapons. I want ammunition right now. This is the kind of leader who's the captain of the ship and will probably go down with the ship if it comes to that. But let's pray to God that that doesn't happen, because you need him right now. And God save Zelensky. So what are we going to be talking about over in this webinar? We are going to be looking at goal setting, not the visioning of the visionaries, but the visionaries will say, hey, this is the dream. This is what we want. This is the ultimate future for Ukraine, and that is freedom. NATO, are you listening? This is freedom, protection from Russian future and present Russian aggression. But once the visionaries have come up with that vision and listen to the visionaries, I think let's just focus on goal setting. By goal setting, this helps us now to get out of this reactive mode that Putin wants us to be in. And the reaction of Ukraine right now is, let's get out of here. Let's get out of every city where there's Russian occupation right now. Let's leave, let's retreat, let's back off. And just leave the poor men to fight for the country. Glory to the heroes, right? Glory to your heroes. Glory to Ukraine. Okay, so what are we aiming to do in this masterclass today? We are going to go beyond traditional goal-setting criteria to get through this war as a victor. Someone who wins, someone that takes the gold medal, the one that crosses the finishing line as the victor, as the champion, and as the hero. And I'm not going to blow smoke up your backside with a whole load of wishy-washy positive thinking. That's a whole load of BS, because you can look at the problem and say, hey, there is no problem, when in actual fact the problem's saying, hey, sucker, this problem's going to take you over and beat you to the ground. You have to see the problem for what it is. We cannot fall prey to denial. So when we are setting these goals and we're looking at strategies on how to do that, we're not going to say, oh, this would be a nice thing to have, wouldn't it? Okay, this is just ridiculous. All right. Your country is being bombed right now. You are losing cities. This is a war from which many of you will never recover unless you make decisions right now as to how you are going to approach this war, consider this war, and be victorious through this war. Okay, so let's just think about what we've just discussed. Do you want to be a victor, or do you want to be a victim? Do you want to win? Do you want to advance? Or do you want to lose? Or do you want to retreat? Let's hope. My hope for you is that you want to win this war, that you want to reclaim everything that Putin right now has taken away from you. If that is you, if you want to win, if you want to be a victor, if you want to go back to your homes, and if you want to live that life that you've cherished for decades since the end of the Cold War, then this webinar and this series is for you. Stick with me. I'm not going away. Okay, so let's just take a look first of all at what Earl Nightingale said about the concept of success. Now, this is all kinds of success, whether this is organizational, corporate success, or this is personal success or wartime success as a leader on the front line, or as a leader of a charitable organization or humanitarian aid organization helping you right now. We want to be successful. We want to set outcomes through goal setting and then plan for the achievement of those outcomes. So let's take a look at what Earl Nightingale once said about success. How did he define success? And who was Earl Nightingale anyway? Well, Earl Nightingale wrote a book, many books in fact, but one of the books that he wrote was called The Strangest Secret. I have the CD set in front of me right here. Can you see that? Earl Nightingale, The Strangest Secret. So he wrote this book in 1957, and he defines success as the progressive realization of a worthy goal or ideal. Now, why was Earl Nightingale's definition for success so very important then, and why is it so very important now? This is the man that fathered the personal development and motivation movement we know today. So this is someone that is still worth listening to even now, and some of the material from that particular book will help you get through this war. Okay, so here we have Earl Nightingale saying that success is the progressive realization of a worthy goal or ideal. That in itself necessitates our exploration of what a worthy goal is and how to achieve it. The late oil tycoon Harrelson L. Hunt left behind a legacy at the time of his death worth over $2 billion. Now that's a pretty good wedge, would you not say? And he attracted the attention, a lot of media attention during his lifetime. People wanted to know what made him successful. And in one particular famous interview, he was asked, so what's the secret to your success? And he gave a 4-step strategy. Okay, now remember again context. I recognize that many of you watching this are watching from bunkers or shared apartments or shelters right now. So why the heck is Nick talking about billionaires? Because he had an attitude for success. I want you to have and adopt an attitude for success. In particular, being successful in this war, right? So, do you want to know that 4-step strategy, yes or no? He said this: number 1, decide what you want. Number 2, decide what you are willing to exchange for it. Number 3, establish your priorities. And number 4, go to work. Let's just break that down and see whether or not it's relevant to us in this wartime. Number 1, decide what you want. Are you getting up each day thinking, now what do I want? I want a bath. I want a shower. I want something to eat. Now, there are charities that we are featuring at the bottom of the screen here that are doing amazing work. And we applaud you right now here in the UK for the work that you are doing on the border of Ukraine right now. And these humanitarian aid organizations are helping with food. They are helping with just general everyday provisions, like helping you just to make sure that you are sanitized, that you can wash yourself, that you can feed yourself. But many of you are just sleeping on the floor. That can't go on forever. Okay, again, we have to remind ourselves, why are we having this discussion right now? Because one day, and that day will come, guys, when you can pick up your blanket, you can roll it up, maybe you can toss it away or take it back with you, and you can go back to your homeland. You can go back to your homes. And I pray that they are in a better condition than what is being televised right now on the BBC and ITV here in the UK. But some of those oligarchs are going to pay through the nose to get your country back. And they're not volunteering that sponsorship either. Too bad. Nevertheless, let's focus on that day, because that day will come. And as Abraham Lincoln once said, this too shall pass. What you are going through right now is temporary. COVID, all the COVID restrictions of 2 years ago, when we were in the middle of that, we all thought, my goodness, is this ever going to end? How are we going to get through this? But many of us survived. Of course, many did not. Many lost their lives. But if you're listening to this right now, you've got breath in your body. You survived COVID, and you shall survive this if you decide to survive this. And before you start setting goals for success, for the future, for redeveloping your lives and getting back to where you once were, you first of all need to decide. As Hunt says, we need to be decisive. You need to decide right now on what it is that you want. What do you want? And it has to go beyond just getting through the day. You have to start playing movies in your head of that victory that you want.
Вирішуй, чого ти хочеш, перед тим, як хтось інший вирішить за тебе. Nicholas C. Hill.
And if you are still listening to me right now, we are walking the same path. Okay? Maybe not physically, but up here we're walking the same path. Let's not only survive, but let's just win. First of all, have that as an attitude. Then decide on what it is that you want. So think about it. Get out a notebook right now. And I want you to pause this webinar in a moment or two. And I want you to get out a notebook. I want you to, and if you've got an iPhone or some other kind of smartphone, if you've been able to take one with you, then fantastic. Write down what it is that you want. If all you've got is chalk on the floor, write. But get out of your head right now what it is that you want. Think about it. Imagine yourself 6 months from now. What's that goal that you really want? And then decide that that is what you are going to wake up and walk towards, move towards, work on, and entertain in your head and strategize towards every single day. That is going to keep you alive up here. You need hope right now.
Депресія з'являється там, де відсутня надія. Тож стань шукачем надії там, де присутня депресія. Nicholas C. Hill.
If you want hope, one way to do that is to create it for yourself. To be hopeful, to create a goal, something to look forward to, something that's even better than something that you once had. You were living in a country where your guard was down. Not anymore. Zelensky, your leader, is not going to allow for that. And by God, if you become a member of NATO, and I do hope that you do, and I hope that NATO pulls its finger out and makes you a member through this crisis and does something to readdress its bureaucracy to help us to work with you to fight against this oppressive force. That in itself, knowing that something is going to happen, knowing that others are working for you right now is going to provide you with some hope, but it's not enough. Because you're now sitting back, hopeful, thinking, well, you know, we can't do anything. We just need NATO to come and help us. We need the EU to come and help us. We need Poland to help us. We need the UK to help us. We need the US to help us. Yes, and they may not help you in the way that you want. So you've got to help you. This is where you step up and become the leader of the people that you see right now in that room that you are sitting in right now. Or are you alone? If you're alone, then there are others outside of that room. There are others on the street who need you. They need your leadership. They need your guidance. Okay, so let's take a look at this step again of what H.L. Hunt taught us. Number one, decide what you want. Now, by deciding, this does not mean toying with options. You toy with options in an organization when you guys are brainstorming, okay? If you've ever done that before, you go into a brainstorming session and you go, yeah, definitely not, maybe, and definitely yes, okay? But when you say definitely yes, you have now decided that that fits some criteria that may not have been vocalized before, but certainly you have started to advance towards making a decision, but you haven't made that decision just yet. So what is a decision? A decision means to cut off all other options. I remember years ago, and we're going back now to what, 2005, when I first taught on the concept of decisive thinking. And I remember asking the participants, what do we mean by being decisive? And of course, you're going to get a whole array of different answers. Nevertheless, I like to work with metaphors and analogies sometimes. Here's an analogy. Imagine that you are sitting or standing underneath an apple tree. You are hungry. Up your eyes go, and you're looking at this wonderful array of juicy apples, and you say to yourself, which one shall I eat? I don't know. They all look delicious. Some are green, some are red, some are golden. I don't know. There's too much choice. Which one shall I eat? But you eventually decide, don't you? So you reach up and go, that one. What happens in your mind to all those other apples? It's a real question. You can ask, you can answer it. What happens in your mind to all those other apples? You forget about them. You delete them, in other words, because your focus and attention now is only on that one apple that you have decided to eat. All the others are no longer relevant to you, meaning you've made your choice. Therefore, I came up with this statement all those years ago that decision is choice deletion. Decision is choice deletion. You need to decide every day what your outcome is for that day. And it cannot be just to get through the day. It cannot be just to get through the day. A victor doesn't think like that. A victim thinks like that. You're not a victim. These webinars are not to support victim mentality. Well, since Harrelson L. Hunt is not around for us to be able to question his rationale behind this four-step strategy, we can only imagine what he meant by it. Decide what you want. Okay, so we've explored around this whole concept or this step in the strategy. Nevertheless, decide is a critical component of this step. Deciding, like we've just said, means to cut off. It means that this is the direction in which I'm going. I'm going in that direction. I'm not going in that direction. I've decided to go in this direction, which means that direction is no longer an option. When you start thinking like this, you think like the victor. Okay, the victor says failure is not an option. Losing is not an option. We are going to win. That is the only option, which means that we fight here and on the streets until we claim back our country. You have to make that judgment call. Is that what you want? Is that what you want? Or are you going to leave it all behind and only go back to your war-torn cities? I don't want that for you. Your neighbor and your neighboring citizens don't want that, and your leaders don't want that either. We advance and we push the enemy out. We push the enemy away. We get them to retreat, not us. So now, get out that workbook. Get out your notepad, your pens and your paper, or whatever it is that you want to use to write down your goal. Do it. Don't just sit and learn passively and think, I'm going to sit here and hope that this guy kind of motivates me and makes me feel good. I'm not here for that. I'm not here for that. That would be just blowing smoke up your backside, which is what I said I will not do. All right? get a notepad, get a pen, and write down the goal that you want to set for yourself. This has to be not just a daily goal, just to get through the day, but a goal a month ahead of now, 3 months ahead of now, 6 months ahead of now, and 1 year ahead of now. We do not know how long this madman, Putin, is going to continue in the pursuit of his objective. We don't know. Who knows? We just don't know. But one thing that you can know is this: what you want. That's the one thing that you can be sure about. What you want. So what do you want? Decide right now. Do this exercise. Put me on pause, okay? For however long. I'm going to put this guy on pause for the rest of my life. Well, if that's the case, then this webinar has not been for you, and I apologize. Be safe. Go in peace. But if you believe that I'm adding value, please do this exercise. Do this exercise. Put me on pause. Give yourself a few minutes to think about, what do you want? Go. Now, did you do the exercise? Did you do the exercise? If you did not, and you're still watching this, put me on pause and go and do that exercise right now. Otherwise, I'm coming to get you. Okay, so what did he say as far as step number 2 was concerned? Decide what you are willing to exchange for it. Interesting step in the strategy. Decide what you are willing to exchange for it. And again, we've got that word in the strategy, decide. This important word which creates very much a flavor for this 4-step strategy. You decide, first of all, what you want, and then you decide what you are willing to give up or exchange for the achievement of what it is that you want. What are you prepared to give up? What are you prepared to do? What behavior are you prepared to give up? What new behavior are you prepared to practice or to learn to practice and to execute? What new principles are you willing to endorse, willing to nurture, and willing to communicate? What new belief system are you willing to adopt? If you and I were working together on the topic of change management, if you adapt, you have to recognize that there's something that you leave behind. There's something that you have to give up. There's something that you're going to gain, but there's also something that you're going to have to lose. And you have to come to that acceptance that you have to leave behind your old way of thinking, some of your old behaviors, and even some of your old friends. Even some family members, even some acquaintances that are holding you back. If you want to advance and you've got people tugging your shoulder to say, come with me, retreat, give up. This war is not your fight. Give it up, leave it behind. And you don't want to do that? You have to make that judgment call. Are you going to say, I appreciate your concerns for me, but I've made my decision to advance, to protect my land, to protect the lifestyle that we once lived, and to win it back. I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to lie down on this canvas and say the fight is over, because it ain't over until the fat boy sings, right? Old English expression. Nevertheless, the war is not over. And you can still surprise Putin with your decision making, with your new behaviors, with your new thinking, with your new tactics, with your new strategic plan. And that doesn't necessarily always mean the strategic plan on the front line, but the strategic plan or in Hungary or wherever you are right now listening to this. So you have to say, okay, if this is what I want, if this is the goal that I want, and I want to get back what Putin is currently taking away, Nurture that goal daily. We've covered that, right? Nurture that goal daily, because that in itself will give you hope. Don't rely on others. You be the one to be the instigator of the dream, the developer, the designer of the dream that you want. And that dream doesn't necessarily have to be what you once had, but better than what you once had. Nevertheless, that dream helps you and puts you in a better place where you can say, damn it, this is worth it. So what are you willing to exchange for the goal that you want? Again, if we are using Hunt's 4-step strategy, think about it this way. You are in your high street. You see a suit or a pair of shoes or whatever it is, and this item is on sale. You recognize its worth. You look at the price tag and you think, wow, that's a pretty good price. I'm going to snap this up and I'm going to get this pair of shoes. I'm going to buy this suit or buy this holiday or whatever it is. Or even if it's an apartment, this is at auction. What a great deal. Let's get it, right? If you fail to make that maneuver, you're going to regret your decision to walk away. You've already made a decision as to what you want. You've now got to decide, what is the price I'm willing to pay? So you, in the high street, I'm shopping for a pair of shoes. How much do I have? I've got 50 euros. I want to see a pair of shoes and they're on sale. The exact same pair of shoes for 25 euros. Do you buy them? Yeah, absolutely. You don't sit back and think, no, I'm going to shop around until I can find a pair of shoes that's actually at the budget that I had set. Of course, there are some there are some people that like to justify their budgets, and they won't buy on offer. They will justify that budget by spending it. Not you and I. Okay. All right. You and I think differently, right? We see that pair of shoes and we say to ourselves, it's on offer, half price. I'm going to buy that pair of shoes for $25 or euros, and I'm going to use the balance and treat myself to a nice meal. If you don't do that and you go back to the shop later after realizing that, you made a mistake by not buying those shoes earlier, and when you get back to the store, those shoes have gone because they were the last pair, this is where you regret your decision. Think forward right now. If you remain in this survival mode and don't think like a victor, and you decide that I'm just going to wait for everyone else to save me right now, and you, even though you've decided what you want, but you're waiting for other people to make those sacrifices on your behalf, you could be waiting a lifetime. That's not how proactive leaders think. That's how reactive victims think. If you're listening to this right now, if you've got through however many minutes of this webinar so far, you're not a victim. We're on that same path, you and I. We are survivors. And survivors not only survive, but they also like to win. Think win. Think win.
Роби те, що інші відмовляються робити сьогодні. Для того, щоб досягнути того, чого іншим не вдасться досягнути завтра. Nicholas C. Hill.
Okay, step number 2. Decide what you're willing to exchange for it. It's exercise time. Again, like you did with step number 1, you now need to decide what you are willing to exchange for the goal that you've just set for yourself. Okay? Exercise. Again, don't listen passively. Put me on pause and sit and think until you have thought long and hard about what you are willing to exchange for the achievement, for the acquisition of this goal. Pause this webinar now. Again, you did the exercise, didn't you? I'm trusting that you did this exercise and you're not just sitting there with a bag of Doritos and a beer. Do the exercise, okay? This is not for your entertainment. If this was entertainment, I'd be shot by now by the sponsors. At the moment, I have no sponsors. Okay, all right, so I don't care. I'm just doing what I can do because this is all I can do. Okay, so what did Hunt say step number 3 was? Establish your priorities. Establish your priorities. Now, what does this mean? Okay, so I guess I've got to do that. I've got to do that. No. It means you get absolutely clear on what the most important activity is that you need to do to achieve your goal. You just write yourself a list of all the things that you need to do. Oh, do you mean a task list? Well, yeah, just write yourself down a task list of what you need to do, or others might say a to-do list. Let's go back to basics, right? So a task list or a to-do list for the achievement of this particular goal. So we're now thinking action. What do I need to do? But you're not doing it just yet. And you're certainly not at this stage formulating any strategy. It's just things that you need to do. So these are subsets to the big picture, the outcome that you want to achieve. And remember, what precedes the outcome is the ultimate vision, which we never covered in this particular webinar, as I said right back at the beginning. Nevertheless, okay, so establish your priorities. Now, once you've listed out, you've written that list of all your tasks that you need to do to make this project happen, you need to now sort through that task list, which I must say is easier to do with a cut and paste approach if you're just writing it in your smartphones as you listen to me now. But you create further subsets whereby you now create a set of primary, secondary, and tertiary priorities. So you say to yourself, if I did nothing else, if I did none of the other tasks on my list, and I only focused on 3 things, you might have written down 100 things on your task list, but if I only focused, or if I was only given the opportunity of executing 3 tasks on my list, and those 3 tasks would help me to achieve the outcome, what 3 tasks would they be? And you focus on, and you stick to, and you stick by your guns, excuse the metaphor, those 3 tasks until the very end. And those 3 tasks you must not stray from. Everything else is secondary or tertiary. So it's exercise time again. Get a pen, get a pad, and write down your task list. What can you do? Who can you call? Who can you speak to? Who can you round up to be on your team to help you to achieve this particular end? Who do you need to email? How much do you need to invest? What do you need to do? Put me on pause. Give yourself at least 5 minutes. Think about how you can establish your priorities. Go. Okay, so let's remind ourselves of what the 4th step is in H.L. Hunt's strategy, and that is simply go to work. Okay, if we're going to paraphrase what Hunt said, and again, he's not here to ask, okay, what do you mean go to work? That's pretty obvious, isn't it? But he's not here to explain. We can only guess. Go to work. It means just go and do it. Go and do it. Get it done. What's Nike's strapline? Just do it, right? Just do it. Maybe you can add the right on the end. Why not? Just do it right. But just do it. Go away and do it. Get it done. I have worked with so many managers in days long gone who have not stayed committed to their outcomes. They've done one course and have said, yeah, that was really good. I learned a lot of good stuff. And you speak to them 5 years later and excitedly, I would say, so how far ahead are you on that goal that you and I discussed? Oh, it's still on the back burner. What? You and I discussed a goal that you wanted to achieve within 6 months of our discussion. It's 5 years later and you're telling me it's still on the back burner? I'm thinking inside, shame on you, son. Don't stick it on the back burner. Don't wait for someone else to go to work. Do it. Get your hands dirty. Now, if you're on the front line, you're doing more than getting your hands dirty. You're getting your hands and knuckles and knees and feet burnt by the shelling. And so I respect and salute you. For those that still need to think beyond the defense right now or the advances on the front line, think about what you are fighting to achieve. And that is why you go to work. That's what keeps you up late and gets you up early every single day. You get up early thinking, this is my country, I'm a patriot, I'm not going to allow this madman to take it from me. Or us. Or your wife, or your kids, or your children's children. This is your land. Ukraine does not belong to Russia, even though Putin, in his delusional way, believes that it does. It's yours. It's your land. Fight to defend it in every way possible. In every way possible. Go to work. Think about the analogy that I gave you earlier about walking in the high street. You find a nice pair of shoes and they are at half price, half your original budget. If you don't take action, which is what we're really talking about here when we go to work, if you don't take action and you just sit back and think about it, the opportunity is gone. If you have decided that that goal is worth the price, pay it. Pay it. You were in the high street ready to buy those shoes at 50 euros, but you decided to go away and think about it. You missed the opportunity. This is your opportunity right now. There is no other time. Today will come and go. Tomorrow will come and go. Now is your time to live. Now is your time to live. Go to work. Don't miss that fine purchase. Right now, the purchase that you have to make is to buy back what's been taken away. Is it worth it? Is Ukraine worth the price? I'm not even Ukrainian and I say yes it is. It's time to go to work, and you need to work harder than you've ever worked before to take back what is being stolen from you. Decide what you're going to do. What difference are you going to make? What contributions are you going to make? Who are you going to work with? What actions are you going to take? You've already got your task list. That's just a set of tasks that you know that you need to do. Yes, you prioritize them into a 3-step hierarchy like we've just discussed. Primary, secondary, tertiary. But are you just going to sit on it? What are you going to do tomorrow? Better question. What are you going to do at the end of this webinar? What's the first thing that you're going to do? Because you need to make a decision right now in the heat of the moment. If you're thinking to yourself, I'm going to do this thing that this son of a bitch is talking about. I'm going to go away and do something and defend my country. But what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Let me sleep on it. Don't sleep on it.
Запобігай прокрастинації, негайно діючи після кожного рішення. Ніколас С. Хілл.
If you've done these exercises today, you will already have made decisions, right? You would have decided what you wanted. You would have decided what you are willing to exchange for it. You will have decided what your priorities are, and you would have decided to go to work. Another way of saying it is take now decisive action. What does indecisive action look like? That's the person that says, I want to climb this mountain, but they hesitate at the bottom of it. And they take one big step and they go, no, this is too difficult, and retreat. And that justifies their excuse when they tell you, I tried, but it didn't work. Stop trying and do.
Досягай своїх цілей, чітко визначаючи кожну з них перед тим, як рішуче діяти. Ніколас С. Хілл.
Okay, all right, so this is Nick Hill signing out. And I say again, glory to Ukraine. Glory to the heroes. Be safe, be strong, and be victorious.
This webinar was produced for the gallant people of Ukraine. It was hosted by Nicholas C. Hill and sponsored by Hill Training Limited in the United Kingdom. Please provide your comments below and subscribe to receive notifications of further chapters in this series. We now urge you to help with humanitarian aid. Please do what you can. One way you can help is to donate directly to any of the charities in this broadcast. While many charities provide support in Ukraine, some of the large international aid organizations are as follows. Unicef works in over 190 countries and territories to save children's lives, to defend their rights and to help them fulfill their potential from early childhood through adolescence. Donate now to UNICEF via unicef.org. The UN Refugee Agency aims to save lives, protect rights, and build better futures for refugees, forcibly displaced communities, and stateless people in fragile settings. Donate now to the UN Refugee Agency by visiting unhcr.org. Come Back Alive provides support to the armed forces of Ukraine, with training and technology to prevent Putinist values spreading beyond Russian borders. Donate now to Come Back Alive by visiting comebackalive.in.ua. Doctors Without Borders is an independent global movement providing medical aid where it's needed most. Donate now to Doctors Without Borders by visiting doctorswithoutborders.org. The International Rescue Committee helps people affected by humanitarian crises to survive, recover, and rebuild their lives. Donate now to the IRC by visiting rescue.org. From us all at Hill Training Limited, if you are watching from Ukraine, be safe, be strong, and be victorious.
Read Nicholas C. Hill's Professional Leader magazine now, the new quarterly digital publication for leaders and managers like you who want to influence output, growth, change, and culture. International Master Coach Trainer of Leadership and Management Strategy with over 25 years of experience, Nicholas C. Hill gives you over 90 pages of relevant, profoundly challenging, and solution-driven content, enveloped in beautiful artwork that you can read on any digital device. Our cover stories deliver essential lessons in leadership from the late masters of business, government, and non-profit. Our Thought Leader column shares the timeless wisdom of thinkers who changed the landscape of organizational philosophy and psychology. Get the leadership and management resources you need today. Purchase Professional Leader magazine now for only £4.99 on professionalleader.com. If you are Ukrainian, download for free now on professionalleader.org. If you are not in Ukraine or a Ukrainian citizen but are still benefiting from our series Leadership Amid Crisis, please support us in the production of these broadcasts by purchasing Professional Leader magazine now for only £4.99 on professionalleader.com.